Okay, we're rolling. So apparently, according to a lot of people on my Facebook feed, today is International Women's Day. So I guess it is fitting that I got this She-Ra figure from Amazon delivered today, and I'm gonna go ahead and open her up, and we're gonna see what she looks like. So yeah, She-Ra, Princess of Power. Even got a little sticker on the bubble there, since she had her own toy line in the 80s, and now she's part of He-Man's toy line. But still, we want to have like a little bit of an homage to her original toy line. And of course, it's got a nice piece of artwork on the back here with She-Ra, and you can tell that this version of She-Ra is more based on the original toy, not her design from the animated series, which of course was different, or the more modern Netflix animated series. It's not anything like that. They went all the way back to the very beginning, to the original toy of She-Ra, to give us this version of the character. And it says here, She-Ra protects the Whispering Woods and all Etheria from the attack of the evil. The attack of Hordak and the evil Horde. So, Hordak's going to be one that's coming soon. You can see him there with his crossbow. I like the Horde tabards in the background. That's nice. And it's got a thing here that says, "Put on cape, turn crown around to become a helmet. She's She-Ra." So, that's the original design of the toy was supposed to do that. You were supposed to turn the tiara thing upside down, and it was going to become a mask. And you can see that the shape of the wings, even in that position, is more like how it was shaped on the cartoon than the toy, where it's shaped differently because it's upside down. But but they did away with the mask thing early on because in their focus groups, girls that were playing with the toys tended to prefer to have the tiara face the other way. So, but they still have a little mention of it on the back here. Let's go ahead and open her up. It's got some other characters pictured on the back here from this assortment, like it's got Zodak, Roboto, and Merman, and of course He-Man and Skeletor. And then here's the comic book, which came out pretty easily this time, was not stuck inside. Let's hope I got the correct weapons for my She-Ra figure, because I've heard a lot of people have been getting the wrong weapons with She-Ra and Merman both. Like, they'll get mixed up because they're both, like, yellow swords is the main thing. So, I got the correct weapons. So some people get a Merman, and they turn out to get She-Ra's sword and shield. And some people will get She-Ra, and it turns out they get Merman's corn sword. Damn. This thing's all kinds of... The tape just does not want to come off. So there's a sword, which is a little smaller than He-Man's sword, I guess because it's a girl figure and the proportions are different. And here's the shield. One thing that I'll say right off the bat with this figure is I'm a little disappointed that some of the fancier things from the original toy are not present on this version. For example, right off the bat, they decided to go with more of a yellow than a true gold on She-Ra, much as they did on Teela. So it's like this sort of like almost kind of metallic, but not quite sort of yellow. And I don't like that as well as like the shinier gold, which to me is more like how it ought to be. I could understand if you're doing like an animated series specific version, like you might not want to have the metallic colors because you want it to more match the colors on the model sheets. I'm going to take this off for now. But this isn't supposed to be the animated version of She-Ra. This is supposed to be the one from the original toy. Also, I was kind of concerned when I saw the first pictures of the figure that the soft goods are not quite as high quality as the original toy, and getting it in hand, I am right. I'm absolutely correct. For one thing, all these sheer white pieces on the original toy, they were more sort of pleated, which, you know, gave it a little more depth. It made it look a little more cool, I think. And on these, it's just like flat fabric. The fabric is kind of like, has like a glisten to it, which that's nice. But without the pleats to it, I don't think it's as impressive looking. Is her belt even removable? Well, I figure it's probably removable if we take the figure apart, but no, it seems like it might even be glued onto the figure itself. That's weird. And I'm going to take her head off so we can... Oh, took her pelvis off. Just the whole thing's coming apart right now. So I can show off some things. I feel like the sheer white parts here should be longer, and of course they should be pleated. I think they kind of tried to replicate the pleatedness of it by having like a jagged edge to it, like a scalloping. But to me, that just makes it look kind of ragged rather than having any sort of design. Also, it's worth noting that originally on the first figure, the vintage figure, this was just kind of a loop that went around her arms, and it attached on both ends of the cape. But here it looks like it's two separate loops that connect together in the middle somehow. Like that's actually a little more fancy. So the fabric they chose for the cape it's not like the original figure where it had kind of like an iridescent film over it, where it was almost holographic looking, and I thought that was really cool. But with this, they went with more of like the standard sort of superhero cape material you get on an action figure. It reminds me of the fabric they used on the old Superpowers Superman figure. I'll put her back together now. Well, let's go ahead and see if we can... Yeah, see the belt is on here pretty firmly. I believe it's actually glued on, so that is not intended to be removed, which is unfortunate. So, man, if I could, what I would do with this is I would get the cape and the skirt from the original figure. I think that would look a lot better on her. And also, one of the elements of the original figure that's worth pointing out is the original figure had a gem, like an actual gem, here in the middle of the bodice. And in this one, it's just kind of molded into the plastic and painted blue. Likewise, I believe that this was supposed to be a gem here, but I don't remember for certain. And there was supposed to be a gem on the Sword of Protection. It's not the Sword of Power, it's the Sword of Protection. Let's see, do I have a He-Man around here anywhere? Hang on a second, let me see if I got a He-Man somewhere. I might have to go over here, because I got one in my bin. Did I not put him in the bin? I don't know what I did with that He-Man. Maybe he's over here on the table somewhere. There he is. I got the one that I customized. He'll be just as well. This is the one that I'd tried to paint the trunks and the boots to be more like the original toy, but I think I went a little dark. But mainly, I just wanted to get out the sword so we can have a size comparison. You can see that He-Man's sword is much larger, like ridiculously larger. And I guess that's because, again, female proportions, they wanted the sword to be more natural looking in her hand, but I think they overcorrected. And I think this sword could probably be a little bit bigger. Like, maybe keep the width that they have now, but make the blade a little longer. And that might give her a more elegant sort of look. But, you know, that's just me spitballing. And kind of nitpicking. The handle of the sword is really thick. Or the handle of the shield is really thick. The handle of the sword doesn't seem as thick. So I kind of had to force the handle of the shield in there. Go ahead and make your jokes. Okay. So... I do wish that they'd maybe, I don't know, like the way that she's gonna hold her shield is gonna be kind of awkward. I guess I could kind of do it around like that. It doesn't look right. It's a nice looking shield, but I think they could have done a better job with the handle. So let's go ahead and put her tiara back on now they have her out of the package, and I won't have to worry about it flying across the room or anything. And it looks pretty good on her head, but I feel like these clips that hold it on are a little high, so it might not stay on very well. Like it'll stay on fine, obviously, like standing on your shelf. But like if a kid's playing with it, it might come flying off at some point. She does have the reflective holographic foil on the tiara and the belt, like the original figure had. I do think the cape might be a little long. It definitely looks longer than I remember the cape as being. I remember the cape as being more like sort of like a little past her knees, like how you typically think of Supergirl's cape as being, but I could be wrong. I might try to trim it up a little bit. I feel like it's a little long. And her skirt seems to want to curl up a little bit in the middle. Again, if they'd pleated it, it probably would have helped, but maybe that was money Mattel didn't want to spend. I don't know. Let's have a look at her knees, because I remember a lot of people complained about Teela's knees and Evelyn's knees. These seem about the same, but on the plus side, since she does have this skirt, it does kind of detract from it a little bit. I think it's not quite as obvious. It's something that just kind of it takes a little bit of the attention away. Hopefully Mattel will figure out a way to improve that, because I think that they could do a better job with it. So maybe at some point they'll redo She-Ra, like if they did a Bubble Power She-Ra, and they could make these yellow pieces a little more true gold. Maybe they could give an alternate head that has rooted hair, so fans that want a rooted hair She-Ra can get that head without having to pay the premium of the, God, what was it, San Diego Comic-Con? Whichever Comic-Con it was. I don't remember. I couldn't afford it. So but I'm fine with her having, like, the plastic hair, because I don't want to sit there and, like, comb doll hair like I'm a grown-ass man. I'm just not interested in that. So, but it would be nice for the fans who are interested in it to get it. Let's go ahead and flip our mask around, and it seems like it actually clips to her head better this way. It's still like the clips are like really high on the head, but it seems to more grip the head there. I don't know, it's weird, but it kind of reminds me of like old librarian glasses or something, so I kind of like it. Or like Catwoman's mask on the old Batman TV show. Something like that. Anyway, like, this is a nice figure, and I don't want people to think, like, because of my nitpicks, that, like, I'm trying to say it's a bad figure. It's not. It's a really nice figure. But there are little things that I think could be tweaked to take it from being a very good action figure to a great action figure. And hopefully, at some point, Mattel will go back to the drawing board and give us a She-Ra that's got a little more oomph to it, I think. And like I said, it wouldn't be that hard to do. There's variants of She-Ra from the original line, and I think that they could possibly do a deluxe figure or something like that, and that could give them a little more budget, so that maybe they could do things like pleats in the skirts and pleats in the shoulder thingies. I don't know what you would even call those. Like I guess like it's supposed to be like the collar of her cape or something. I don't know, but yeah, not a bad figure, especially if you like the vintage toy, the look of the original vintage toy, rather than say the Filmation cartoon. I think the Filmation cartoon is probably more popular in fan circles than the look of the vintage toy. People tend to want the toys to be accurate to the Filmation cartoon, which I think is kind of like tail wagging the dog. A lot of the changes they made on the Filmation cartoon, they were made to simplify the animation. Now, that having been said, there were some certain improvements that were made, and I would actually have to agree that I liked the Filmation look of She-Ra better than the toy, but I still like the look of the toy, so I'm happy to have that represented. But it might not be a bad idea to do a Filmation style She-Ra before. I'm sure a lot of you noticed that that's actually one of the toys that I have on my shelf here that I keep displayed for. Oh, she fell over. Okay, we'll put her over here for now. But I have the Super 7 version, where they based her more on the Filmation toy, but still wanted to do like a vintage sort of look to her. So I really like this figure. So since I have this one already, I have a Filmation one, and I have a vintage toy version, which is kind of neat. It's cool that I have both of those. You can see though that her cape is like ridiculously short. And that might be how short it was on the original show. Like, I don't know. But it seems a lot shorter than it should be to me. Anyway, if I could... Hopefully she won't fall over. I'll just lean her against G.I. Joe for now. But yeah, so there's the She-Ra figure. Let's go ahead and look at the comic book a little bit. I haven't seen this comic book because this is the one that comes in the third wave. And I believe I have the one with the second wave because it came with Battle Armor He-Man. And so this one starts off with He-Man flying the Talon Fighter, which maybe we'll actually get that toy at some point. That's nice. And then there's the Slime Pit here. I'm not going to read the whole comic this time, but Roboto has a nice font that looks a little more robotish, so you can imagine him talking in a robot voice when you read the comic book. And Skeletor, and I guess that's not the Slime Pit. It's some kind of door he's trying to get into, but it reminds me a lot of the Slime Pit. Slime Pit would be a really cool set from them to make. It's got Zodak flying around in his chair, like on the cartoon. And She-Ra shows up here almost at the very end. And again, she's wearing the suit that looks more like the vintage toy. So, but yeah, good times. The artwork for these is usually pretty decent, like I said. I don't know the name of this artist, but he seems to get better as he goes along. There's a lot of Kirby crackle in the backgrounds when they go into this other dimension, and that's cool. So, anyway, that's pretty much it for now. I'm going to call it a day on this one, but I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Bye.